Greetings all! Today, we will be examining the rare Psychic-type Pokémon Wynaut, the Bright Pokémon, and its equally rare evolution, Wobbuffet, the Patient Pokémon. Both Wynaut and Wobbuffet have the same basic body structure, with their primary bodies possessing an oblong shape with soft skin and blue fur covering every inch of their frame, save for their black flattened tail. In the case of Wobbuffet, they're able to walk around using 4 bulbous toes that extend from the base of their bodies, while Wynaut only have 2, limiting their mobility slightly compared to their evolved form. Both of them possess slit-like eyes on their main bodies that provide them with limited vision, forcing them to mainly rely on their other senses in order to scout their environment. As a result, they are generally slow-moving and not particularly adept at escaping attack if they are being chased. Aside from this, though, there is little that distinguishes these creatures, their simple body form only being offset by their black tails, which possess eyes of their own that are surprisingly more effective than the ones on their main bodies. In looking at Wynaut and Wobbuffet, however, it is important to note that the existence and form of Wynaut in particular is different for an important reason. Normally, when Wobbuffet reproduce, they are born as normal Wobbuffet, with little distinguishing them from one another. However, they are susceptible to environmental changes and the presence of certain chemical odors, oftentimes conveniently gathered and sold as lax incense, have the effect of restricting the development in eggs, resulting in the creation of Wynaut when they finally emerge. These creatures are much weaker than their normal adult counterparts and less adept in battle, plus their main body form is distorted, with an incomplete blob of body material protruding from their heads, a permanent grin on their face due to a genetic defect, and only a single eye on their tails, and a complete lack of limbs. Instead, these creatures use the flaps of skin attached to their ear holes as arms, and are able to move them with the same strength and dexterity that a Wobbuffet can move its normal arms with, so the overall limitations on that front are comparatively small. When it comes to offense, Wynaut and Wobbuffet have very little to offer in any real form, as they gain access to no attacks at all that can deal direct damage. In the case of Wynaut, they have no way to attack whatsoever due to the retardation of their physical development, only having access at birth to the Splash, Charm, and Encore techniques. However, when in the presence of large groups, as they normally dwell in within the wild, these creatures will regularly push against themselves on moonlit nights when they're not otherwise sleeping in masses within caves, in order to toughen their bodies and strengthen their spirits and endurance against pain as they learn to deliver counterattacks against others. They choose to do this at this time, as they have the cover of darkness on their side to protect against predator attack, while the moonlight still provides them enough light to see each other with. While they are able to utilize some weak psychic power on their own, it is only when Wynaut reach the peak of this process in perfecting their counterattacks that they unlock their true defensive potential and gain access to the Counter, Mirror Code, Safeguard, and Destiny Bond moves, facilitating their growth and evolution into Wobbuffet. However, these are the only other moves that these creatures and Wobbuffet gain access to by any means, and their overall combat ability is very poor, with almost all of their stats being severely below average for a Psychic-type Pokemon even when fully evolved. The only exception is their HP, which is already above average for a Psychic-type as Wynaut, but is incredibly high as Wobbuffet, granting the species the highest base HP stat out of all Psychic-type Pokemon as a testament to their endurance of their bodies. The abnormal psychic powers that grant them access to these particular moves are also the cause behind these creatures' general possession of the unique Shadow Tag ability, which they normally only have access to, in which they create a temporary psychic link between them and the opposition that covers both of them in an invisible shield of psychic energy that disrupts the functions of capture devices. This makes it almost impossible to switch in Pokemon in battle unless you are using a Pokemon that also has the ability, as the two psychic links will cancel each other out. These creatures can also possess telepathy as a hidden ability as a product of the psychic powers, but such specimens are generally rare to come across. As far as Pokemon go, Wynaut and Wobbuffet are admittedly strange, and seem to possess body forms that offer them no true advantage in the wild. But there is a secret to these monsters that makes their behavior and powers all the more interesting. While many would assume that the main bodies of these creatures are what they appear to be, they are not. In fact, the main bodies of these creatures are nothing more than biological puppets. Their tails are the true living organisms, as that is where the central core of their nervous system and in turn the source of their psychic powers lies. It is believed that these creatures develop these massive puppet bodies as a way of keeping their vulnerable true bodies safe from attack, as their true bodies are very thin and frail and not suited for real battle, which further explains why they and their puppet bodies are unable to use any form of direct attack. They are intentionally designed to be organic punching bags. While Wynaut can often get rambunctious and will have their puppet body slap them on the ground when they are angry, adult Wobbuffet are more considering of their safety and will stay far away from light in dark caves where they can't be easily found, hiding and protecting their true bodies at all costs. While the true minds of these creatures may be packed into a small area, they still need their puppet bodies as they contain most of their vital organs and have become so integrated with their true body that these Pokemon cannot ingest food and liquids for sustenance without it. This can make these creatures tricky to deal with, as they will oftentimes refrain from moving first in any battle, taking a fully defensive posture instead, but at the very least this hidden truth makes this stance understandable. Despite having very similar biological structures, in comparing the personalities and mannerisms of Wynaut and Wobbuffet, there are remarkable differences that should be noted. Wynaut, for the most part, are very happy-go-lucky creatures that can express a wide variety of emotions even if their permanent grin might make them somewhat hard to discern. Because of their deformed internal systems, these creatures need a high-sugar diet in order to sustain themselves and what little psychic power they have, and thus tend to eat sweet fruits and berries in large volumes. This can actually be used to one's advantage in working with them, as they are generally very easy to train and more than willing to work for their meals, doing mild manual labor on occasion in exchange for sweet treats they will charmingly eat with their earhole skin flaps, resulting in a charming and comical appearance that often wins over the hearts of even the most rugged of individuals when observed. Wynaut tend to be so happy with the state of existence that, even if they do manage to acquire all the moves that normally define the powers of their evolved form, they will willingly stay in their incomplete form in order to enjoy the most out of life. While at first this may seem to be a choice solely made for personal reasons, there is a biological purpose to it as well, as adult Wobbuffet surprisingly possess a neurological defect in their bodies not present in the mutant offspring that limits their degree of emotional control, placing them in a near constant state of melancholy neutrality that makes it difficult for most to connect with them on an emotional level. This monotone emotional disposition, which robs them of the enjoyment of their meals to the point of making eating little more than a chore to them, is only punctuated on occasion by a strong sense of stubbornness. This is most apparent when two Wobbuffet confront each other, as they will stubbornly try to outlast each other to see which of them can go the longest without food as a sign of their overall bodily endurance, sometimes only ending the confrontation when one of the two dies from starvation. This can make Wobbuffet hard to work with and is definitely something that trainers should keep in mind if they come into contact with another Wobbuffet on their journey if already in possession of one. While they might not have any way to directly fight off others, Wynaut and Wobbuffet are nonetheless fascinating creatures with a unique secret that only serves as a testament to their incredible endurance and willingness to take the strongest of blows and deliver them back with added force. Trainers looking to train these creatures may have to adopt new strategies in order to make use of their odd powers, but with the right actions, these fleshy meat sacks can be used to take down even the toughest of foes, even if it means sacrificing themselves in the process. Just make sure that you understand the emotional implications of their mental state before you decide to raise one. Wynaut may be fun to have around, but their evolved form can be an entirely different story, and may take some getting used to if you find that a close bond does little to help them cheer up and see the brighter side of life.